Ailie, could you list what you've been called too much for me, please?
I've been called too sporty, too tall, too manly, too slutty, too outspoken, too weird. That's all I can think of off the top of my head.
I know, it's like sometimes you're like, I just think I've been called everything. And can you tell us some anecdotes of when you've been called like too much, the thing, and how that's made you feel? It can be the same as before or different.
I think like sort of when I was a teenager I was really sporty. I wanted to be an athlete. I was good enough that I probably could have been an athlete, but people said I was too manly, that it wasn't feminine, that I would never have a boyfriend, I would never be able to go to a party. If I wanted to be an athlete I would have to sort of give up my whole life to become an athlete, that I would miss out on all these things that women should be, that women should enjoy, having boyfriends and going to parties and stuff. I've been called too slutty when I was sexually assaulted, and it went round the whole school and I was called a slut. I had strangers in the street calling me a slut. It followed me into my 20s when I went to the pubs and there was guys in there that I didn't even know that called me a slut. And it's just a horrible word that should never ever be repeated to anybody. It's the worst word, or one of the worst names that you could call someone, I think. It was sort of, all those things were drummed into me over time, so you start to doubt who you really are and you start to change who you are because you want to fit in with other people. You want to just kind of, especially at that age as being a teenager, you want to sort of live your life without any hassle. It's like as a teenager nobody wants to sort of stand out from the crowd. Everybody wants to fit in, so like I definitely changed who I was to fit in, and then I ended up, after years of trying to fit in, I got to the stage that I didn't even sort of recognise myself anymore, and that's when like I sort of started struggling with mental health and things like that. So it's only been kind of recently that I've started to really, well, not recently, but over the past kind of 10 years that I've kind of started to kind of go back and sort of rediscover who I really am, and like not give a damn if it's too much for some people to handle, because that's their problem, it's not mine.
Yeah, definitely. How would you have wanted that situation when you were younger, especially with sexual assault? Because I feel that's like such a massive issue in our society and culture, and like that, you know, women are, you know, not believed. Women and children are not believed.
Yeah.
Things happen to them, and they are blamed and put in the shame as opposed to the abuser, right? And it, you know, did you have supportive parents at that time in terms of when it happened, or like did you not want to tell anyone? Like, what, if you want to talk about this, by the way?
I was too scared to tell my parents. I told one or two sort of close friends, and like they didn't really react, and I thought, like, I don't know, I was expecting some sort of reaction. I was expecting them to say like, oh my god, this is terrible that this has happened. I'm not really sure if they believed me or not, and so that made me sort of doubt myself, and sort of for years like I've kind of changed how it happened in my mind to say like, oh yeah, well I must have been to blame, or I must have been like partly involved too, and then it's only kind of recently that that I've been sort of exploring that through counselling and things, and like it now seems like the most ridiculous thing ever that I would ever blame myself, especially when I was like a teenage girl at the time. I was like 13. So yeah, like there's absolutely no way that I should have been blamed in that situation, and I wish I had spoken out about it then, but like I was too afraid. I didn't want to not be believed.
Well, and especially with the reactions you'd already met.
Yeah.
And with, and with other people, like with the name calling and like the, blaming it all on you. Like, why would you? Like, I can totally see why you wouldn't. You kind of like survive,
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah. Did you, because I'm interested in the patterns as well, because it's something that I think, like, I didn't realise. Maybe it's very obvious to lots of other people, I don't know, but it wasn't obvious to me, like how these patterns, like they relive themselves in your life over and over again. And with the patterns that you experienced, like when did you realise that you were the patterns, that it was a direct correlation to the awful things that you experienced when you were younger?
It's only really since I've started writing. I found that the writing's been like a sort of really cathartic sort of process, getting it all down on paper and really analysing it, because I've never really, always just tried to forget about that sort of thing in the past. Like I just kind of blotted it out in my mind, like I drank, I did drugs and things like that because I didn't want to think about it. And it's only now that since I've started writing and really tried to make sense, that like it's all went back to this one point of like the first time I was sexually assaulted was when I was 11. I was sexually assaulted again twice when I was 13, 14, again when I was 16, again when I was 23. I had 2 abusive relationships in between times, and yeah, it's just the same pattern repeating over and over again. Yeah, so, but it's taken me such a long time to realise that, and it's only been through the writing and the creativity that I've really started to sort of make sense of it all. And it might be totally obvious for someone looking in from the outside, but for me, being stuck in that pattern, it was like being stuck on a loop almost.
Same.
Yeah, so like you can't see it when you're sort of living it, but as soon as you kind of take a step back and sort of, then it's totally obvious, and you're like, why have I never really noticed it before or realised?
Taking the things you've been called too much of, how are they your power, and what do you love about yourself?
Like I love the fact that I'm different. I love to sort of stand out from the crowd now, whereas before it was I almost saw it as a negative because I didn't want to stand out. I wanted to fit in with everybody, but now I think that that's what makes me unique. I think that me being able to stand up and talk about all of this sort of stuff is, I hopefully want to help my daughter when she grows up. I hopefully don't want her to have to go through sexual assault or being harassed or being called a slut. I don't want any little girl growing up to have to go through that sort of thing, or boy, or anybody. Nobody should have to go through like not just bullying, but like it's more than bullying. Like everybody should just be able to be free to be whoever they are and not be afraid of what to wear or what to say. So yeah, so that's what I think, and through my writing as well, like I'm trying to do, sort of spread that message through poetry and stories and stuff. So
yeah. And if you could say something to your younger self, imagine if your younger self came to you now and was like, I've been called XYZ too much, this has happened to me, like, what's your advice? What would you say to them?
I would say don't give a damn about what anybody else thinks. Don't give a damn about what people say. Don't let the bastards grind you down. You've got to be true to who you are. You're the only person that you have to please. Yeah, just stay true to yourself. Do what makes you happy.
Yeah. Good advice. And if you could change the world tomorrow, what would that new world look like?
So many things, I don't know where to begin. It would just be a place where everybody's happy, where everybody's free to do what they want to do, to be who they want to be, where nobody's got any money worries, nobody's going to food banks, like people have got all the stuff that they need, like food and clothes and shelter. I'd like to sort of live in a more of a community, like a sort of communal sort of society where people are all caring about each other, rather than caring about how much money you've got or whatever. This is going to sound like sort of so hippie-ish, but it's just like sort of spreading the love, looking after nature, looking after the environment. Yeah, so that would be my ideal world.
Sounds like a great world. Yeah, and is there anything else you'd like to share?
I'm going to do a couple of poems. So yeah, a lot of the poetry that I do is it's all about feminism and supporting other women. And since I've started writing about that sort of thing, I've started connecting with other women. I'm part of a poetry collective called the Raging Goddesses. I go to like a women's moon circle every month, and we meditate and we share stories, and it's just like a safe space for women to do that sort of thing. So this one's called Coven, and this was kind of inspired by the women's circle. I told my partner about it, and he says like he thought that we were chanting at the moon or something like that, but we weren't. And this one's called Coven. We are the women who tear skies apart with our power. You can hear the crack and rip tearing, apocalyptic grey clouds washing over us like heavenly tsunamis. We are the women who change the colour of the air. We can summon a blood-red moon and order a total lunar eclipse. We are the women who share love together. We laugh and cry and grieve together. We share the same feelings and heartbreaks. We've shared traumas and losses. We have the same issues with our bodies. We are the women of all shapes and sizes, with scarred bodies and shattered minds. Yet we have all these magical powers. We have strength in our numbers, and our love shall overcome all. We are the women who come together to heal and share and support each other. We come without prejudice, just open hearts and open minds, to share this gift of sisterhood. This one's called I Am. I am the blowjob queen, my dreaded nickname whispered unseen from strangers lurking in school corridors. Every day for years my fears realised as they wounded me with words and reduced me to tears. My identity stripped, leaving me bare and ashamed. I couldn't hide. It was a constant fight with no light at the end of the tunnel. I swam against the tide, drowning in their lies. I was the weird gothic chick who never smiles. But I'm not taken anymore. I have the power to ignore and cast aside their jibes and negativity. I have my own integrity and strength within me. I'm not what all the others see. I'm the only person I have to please. Look closely and you'll disagree with their preconceived ideas of what I am. Because this is me. I stand proudly and proclaim I am.
Wow, I love that one. That's amazing.